Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook and YouTube. So if you are joining us from either of those places, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment down below. I'll be going through the comments as I go through the forecast here. I'm expecting at least a couple of questions. We've got some alert time on the board here, and we're going to get started here with that alert. We'll break down the details. Not much has really changed over the last day or so. We're still on alert here for tomorrow night and into Friday. We've got a couple of rounds of showers and thunderstorms that are going to be moving through. The first round looks to move in late Thursday night into the overnight hours and into early Friday morning. And then the second round possibly moving in for Friday night into early Saturday morning. But I think the severe weather threat is a little bit greater with that threat for Thursday night. And we do have that potential for an isolated damaging wind gust or even an isolated tornado threat. So widespread severe weather is not expected Thursday or Friday, but let's take a look at the individual risks. So looking at our storm risk for Thursday, most of the tri-state is actually outlooked for just general thunderstorms. Again, the ingredients aren't really all there for this big widespread severe weather event, but if things come together just right, you may get an occasional severe thunderstorm warning, and that's pretty much what this level 1 isolated green color that you see here over southern Illinois pretty much stretches all the way out to the Wabash County. Now that doesn't mean severe storms aren't possible here either. I don't really like the definite boundaries that the outlooks have, because I definitely think there is a severe thunderstorm threat there for Thursday night. But again, it's overall a fairly isolated risk. Nothing is a widespread major severe weather outbreak. And same thing for Friday. Most of the tri-state, or at least half the tri-state, still only outlooked for general thunderstorms. Only half of it over western Kentucky and up to the Ohio River are included with that level 1 isolated risk for Friday. So again, a same threat level for Thursday and Friday there with an isolated chance for a severe thunderstorm. So let's talk about the timing of everything. And I think the majority of our Thursday is going to be quiet. It's going to be cloudy, or at least mostly cloudy, especially waking up tomorrow morning. We'll have winds coming up out of the south. You may get an occasional sprinkle, but not really expecting any of that precipitation to really begin to move into the tri-state until Thursday night. And a better chance for actual thunderstorms don't really arrive until around 11 o'clock or afterwards, and they continue into early Friday morning. Again, you can see nothing is really super organized as these storms move through, which is why it's such an isolated threat. But again, if things come together just right, you could get a couple of warnings out there and it can catch you off guard. So that's why we have those alert days in effect tomorrow and then again on Friday. So we actually start to dry out a little bit throughout the day on Friday. It's not until again late Friday night that another area of low pressure is going to slide up from the south, and this time we're on the northern end of this low, which typically doesn't really promote a whole lot in terms of thunderstorm activity, which is why I think our severe weather threat is maybe a little bit lower for Friday compared to Thursday. But regardless, an isolated severe thunderstorm is possible both for Thursday and on Friday. And again, our primary risk here is going to be that potential for an isolated damaging wind gust, but you can't rule out that chance for even some spin-up tornadoes for both Thursday and Friday. But I think the chance for that for both tornado or a wind warning would be for Thursday. But let me take a look at some of the comments. I threw a lot of information at you, so I expect some questions. Looks like we've got a couple of good evenings from Cheyenne, Paula. Good evening to you guys. Suzanne says she hopes the storms aren't too bad. Good evening, Michael. How big of a chance will Evansville and Newburgh have for a bad storm to produce tornadoes? And should we be on edge overnight tomorrow into Friday? I don't think, there's a huge chance for tornadoes tomorrow. Obviously, there's a difference between storms that get tornado warnings and then storms that actually produce tornadoes. Will we catch maybe a tornado warning tomorrow night at some point? I wouldn't be surprised. Again, it's that level 1 isolated risk for a damaging wind or maybe even a spin-up tornado risk. But again, both are very, very low. So I'm not expecting really anything bad to happen. It's just that off chance, if things come together, you could get a severe thunderstorm or you could even get a quick little spin-up tornado. But in terms of, do you have to be on edge tomorrow night or stay up through the night? I don't think you need to stay awake for anything. I think you can go to bed. However, you have your phone, you have hopefully a weather radio or another way to receive a warning. I think as long as you have that turned on to receive a warning to your phone or to your weather radio in the event that one is issued, then I think you'll be good to go. But I don't think it's really a night where you have to be waiting in anticipation for these storms to be that bad. So hopefully that eases you a little bit. But again, you should still be prepared for anything, of course, and I think the best way to do that is making sure that you have your alerts turned on and you have a way to receive warnings. I think that is going to be the best way to approach this over the next few days, because again, it's not like this is one solid line of severe thunderstorms that we're tracking. It's kind of this very strung out 2-day period with a couple of chances for maybe a strong or severe storm throughout. So it's timing has been a little bit difficult, but we're pretty set on Thursday night, overnight, and then again Friday night into early Saturday morning. But I think the overall severe weather threat is greater for tomorrow night, even though we're all just sitting at that level 1 risk. So again, not expecting widespread severe weather for tomorrow or Friday. But that is kind of the gist on those alert days. So now I'm going to talk about pretty much everything else in the forecast for the next 7 days. And we're going to start off with a look at what's going on outside right now. Temperatures have cooled down mostly into the 40s, which is actually fairly mild for this time of year. 46 right now in Evansville with mostly clear skies. The warm spot on the map in Henderson, 48 degrees right now. And then over the next 12 hours, our temperatures will drop down into the lower 40s overnight tonight, with gradually increasing cloud cover. And then again, we'll wake up tomorrow with mostly cloudy skies, and it'll be a cloudy day through and through, mostly dry up until late tomorrow night. But before we have those storms move through, we've got another thing we're keeping our eye on, and that is a potential record warm high for tomorrow. We are going for a forecast of around 67 degrees. Our previous record high was 68, set back in 1965. And with winds out of the south-southeast, possibly up to 20-25 miles per hour, I still think we are easily able to either tie that record or maybe even break it tomorrow. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. And in terms of tomorrow, I talked about those wind gusts. It will be gusty. Now, I do think at least the first half of the day, the winds won't be as bad, but as you get later on in the afternoon and later into tomorrow night, as that frontal boundary gets a little closer, that's where you get winds gusting upwards of 30, possibly even up to 40 miles per hour there. Now, I mentioned those record warm highs for tomorrow, but we've also got a couple of more records to talk about for Friday night or Friday morning. So we may wake up to temperatures in the upper 50s to right around 60 degrees. That's our forecast. Our previous high for or low for Friday morning was set back in 1935 of 49 degrees. So I think we'll easily break that record, and then we may even come for another tied record high on Friday. Our forecast is 65, and the previous was also 65, set back in 1963. So very warm here over the next couple of days, but once all of this weather moves out of here, by the time we get into this weekend, we will see some cooler air rushing in from the northwest. So will be cooler and drier over the weekend, especially by Sunday. I think Saturday will still have some clouds and even some wraparound rain showers to contend with, but then high pressure fully builds in through the day on Sunday. So we'll have a completely dry second half of the weekend there, and a lot cooler as well. Highs will be in the 60s on Friday, 50s by Saturday, and only in the 30s for Sunday. So another very, very gradual cooling trend over the next couple of days before we start to warm back up as we get into next week. So our roller coaster ride of temperatures continues here through the middle of January. So after we cool down briefly below average by Sunday, we're going to pop back up to around average for the start of the work week, and then hang around average or even slightly above through at least Wednesday. And then it looks like in terms of our precipitation, we should remain right around average for this time of year. So nothing too crazy in terms of an active weather pattern through the middle of the month. And you can see it stays fairly quiet. You know, we've got mainly this area of high pressure moving through through for the start of next week. And then we've got this frontal boundary that'll slip by Wednesday into Thursday. That may bring us a few sprinkles, maybe a few flurries, but really that's about it through all of next week. Up until maybe next weekend, we have the chance for some more rain and some snow to move through, but that's way out in the forecasting range there. But here's a look at your next 7 days. Let me go ahead and take this full screen. I'm sure I've got a couple of more questions in the comments. Let me go ahead and see if I can answer anything. Angie asking, when is that front coming in? Well, at least for Thursday, I'm assuming you're talking about those alert days. Thursday, we're expecting really not any of those thunderstorms to move into the tri-state until generally after 11 o'clock, and that'll continue into early Friday morning. And then that second round of mostly rain moves in late Friday night into early Saturday morning. Winter is asking, is it like the system that we had last week? It is similar in the way that we have a lot of shear and not a lot of instability. So in terms of the ingredients, similar in that way, but the setup maybe just a little bit different. Of course, not every weather event is going to be the same, but again, that marginal risk for an isolated severe thunderstorm, obviously that potential for even a spin-up tornado exists for Thursday and Friday. It's just not a huge widespread risk. Will the temperature drop mostly be Sunday? Yeah, it looks like we'll be a lot cooler there by the time we get into Sunday, but the actual temperature drop occurs throughout the day on Saturday. So you'll notice we top out at around 52 degrees there Saturday, and then by Saturday night we're dropping down into the upper 20s, and then we only warm up into the lower 30s by Sunday. Cheyenne says, can the temps please figure it out? I'm over the up and down. Yeah, I am over it too. I'm sure our immune systems are not too happy. And then Chris says he is just enjoying the warmer temperatures. And that is all I'm really seeing here in the comments. So thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for interacting with us and asking questions. I love making sure that you guys are cleared and straight away on anything that's headed our direction. So again, just a little recap here. On alert Thursday and Friday for an occasional severe thunderstorm. Our primary hazard is a damaging wind gust, but you can't completely rule out that spin-up tornado threat either. Our best chances to see maybe some severe weather will be very late Thursday into the overnight hours, and then again very late Friday into overnight into early Saturday morning. But again, I think the best chance for that severe weather is definitely going to be for Thursday night, with Friday night still possible, but I think a little bit less likely. And then we should start to dry out and cool down over the weekend. A few lingering showers possible Saturday, but then a dry end to the weekend and start to the work week there with plenty of sunshine and temperatures climbing back up to near 50 by the time we get into Tuesday. So that is all I've got here for the forecast. I'm going to hop off the live stream. I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.